I never believed in curses, at least not until I stood face to face with one. My name is Daniel Voss. I'm 42 years old, a former geologist, part-time treasure hunter, and a full-time skeptic, or at least I used to be. This is the story of how I came to believe that there are places in this world where logic dies, and something far more ancient takes over. Places like the Superstition Mountains of Arizona. It started in the fall of 2017. I was in a rut, divorced, unemployed, barely hanging on to what remained of my self-respect. The only thing that kept me going was my obsession with the legend of the Lost Dutchman's mine. You see, I've been researching that cursed mine since I was a kid. My grandfather used to tell me stories about it, how Jacob Waltz, the so-called Dutchman, supposedly found an impossibly rich gold vein somewhere in the Superstition Mountains in the late 1800s, and how he took that secret to his grave. Some say he was murdered. Others say the mountain took him. Either way, dozens have died trying to find what he left behind, and I wanted to be the one who found it. The plan was simple. I'd hike into the eastern edge of the Superstitions with my pack, my gear, a GPS, and the maps I'd spent years collecting. I would follow the clues laid out in journals and old prospector notes. I'd camp, dig, document, and come out a millionaire. Or not at all. But the deeper I went, the less the mountains seemed to welcome me. My first night in the canyon was uneventful, cold, quiet. I set up camp near a natural rock shelter just off Bluff Spring Trail. The stars were vivid, like shards of ice stuck in velvet. But even then, I felt something wrong. Like the silence was watching me. That night, I dreamed of whispers. I couldn't understand the words, but they weren't mine. They came from deep inside the canyon walls. The next day, my GPS malfunctioned, just went blank, no power, and then my compass started spinning slowly, like it didn't know where north was. I should have turned back then. I know that now, but I was too deep in it, not just geographically, but mentally. This was my purpose. I had to find the mine. That's when I found it, the first sign. A rock cairn with a bone tied to the top with what looked like sinew, human bone. I don't scare easy, but I knew what this meant. It was a warning, and not a recent one. It was weathered, sun-bleached. Someone left it years ago, and it had been standing untouched all this time. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I wasn't tired, but because something was out there. Insert. Soft desert wind, coyotes in distance, slowly rising eerie hum. I heard it first, the sound of footsteps on gravel, not heavy like a bear or a human, light, pacing, circling my camp. I stayed in the tent, clutching my knife and flashlight. The light barely pierced the dark, and when I did finally build up the courage to look outside, there was no one there, no prints, no sounds, just the wind and a strange smell, sulfur and something else, copper maybe, blood. I moved camp the next day. The deeper I hiked into the range, the stranger things got. I found another campsite, abandoned, a rusted-out stove, torn tent, a journal half buried in sand. The pages were sun-bleached and torn, but I could read enough. Watched us all night, eyes in the rocks, heard whispering in the gravel. George is missing. The journal was dated 1987, and then I saw them. Eyes, not animals, not humans, deep red, watching me from the ridge, just for a second. When I climbed up to investigate, there was nothing, but the temperature dropped. In the middle of the Arizona sun, I could see my breath. And then the howling started. It wasn't wind. I swear to you, it wasn't wind. It sounded like mourning, like grief, like ancient pain rolling across the rocks. I blacked out that night. I don't remember falling asleep. I just remember waking up miles from my camp, face in the dirt, blood on my shirt. No wounds, no memory. I tried to leave. My maps made no sense anymore. Trails were gone. Landmarks had shifted. It was like the mountain rearranged itself. I began seeing people, shadowy figures far off. Always just far enough I couldn't make out their faces. They never moved when I watched. But the second I turned my back, they were closer. One night I heard my name being whispered. Daniel. Daniel. From a place just outside the firelight. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just waited. And in the flicker of the flame, I saw him. An old man, long white beard, ragged clothes, skin like cracked leather, standing still as stone, mouth open, eyes hollow. Jacob Waltz. I swear on my life, it was him. He lifted a hand, pointed to the east, and said, "Gold brings death. The mountain remembers. Go." I ran. I didn't pack. I didn't look back. I ran until my legs gave out, and then I crawled. I don't know how long I was out there. Days, maybe. I was found by a hiking group near the trailhead. Dehydrated, sunburned, delirious. I've never gone back. But sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still hear the mountain whispering my name. This story is real. This happened to me. And if you're ever tempted to search for the lost Dutchman's mine, don't. Because some things aren't meant to be found. Some treasures are buried for a reason.